that really. We've got Gatwick on the 11th and 12th, Manchester on the 18th, 19th. Liverpool is, I think, on the 8th and 9th of November. I've already mentioned Stansted on the 15th of November. And then there's Glasgow on the 22nd and 23rd of November. So we're pretty full for the next month, but there are still some spaces left. So if you do want to book, it's an ideal time to pop on the website and book away.
Okay, great. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for your time.
No problem, John. Thanks ever so much.
So the dates for this year, Luton Airport, 27th of February is the ground course, 28th of February is the experience flight. So these are all 2-day courses, in case you haven't figured out. I'm going to do the first day that the course runs, and then you can guess which one the day you fly is. Newcastle, 5th of March, Gatwick, 2nd of April, Manchester, 9th of April, Bristol, 15th of April, Glasgow, 23rd of April, Belfast, 29th of April, Stansted, 14th of May, and Liverpool, 17th of June. And of course, I will put this up at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show, along with a link so you can book your places, or you can just go straight there now, well, when you finish listening to my show, www.fearlessflyer.easyjet.com. If you've been on a Fearless Flyer course, please do let us know how you felt and if it did you any good. The same Facebook page, facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show, and please share your experience.
Hello, it's Roy. Yeah, we're on the ferry. We should be in Spain tomorrow afternoon.
Well, be careful. Lots of crooks on the roads out here.
Crooks? You know where I grew up.
This is different. They target British registered vehicles.
Yeah, they used to do that round my way.
I'm serious. They'll tell you there's something wrong with your car, so you pull over, then they rob you. Or they distract you at a motorway stop. They target hire cars, too.
Hire cars?
Yeah, well, they're driven by tourists.
Oh, OK, I'll watch out.
Good. So, looking forward to the drive down?
Yeah, well, I was.
Thieves in Spain have been targeting hire cars and UK-registered vehicles, so be extra careful on the roads. For details, visit gov.uk and search for Living in Spain.
Checking it out before you check in on the John Guinn Travel Show on ukhealthradio.com. So we're talking about being scared of flying, and I've already mentioned 2 different ways of getting around it. One was Valium, which I used to use. Don't recommend, but it did work. And the other one is these Fearless Flyer courses from easyJet or other airlines. There's another option, that's hypnotherapy, and that could help people too. Helps people give up smoking and all sorts of things, so why not help people get around their fear of flying? My next guest is Lee Adley. She's a hypnotherapist in Milton Keynes, and we're going to talk about how hypnotherapy can help people who have fear of flying, and hypnotherapy in general. And it's something you may want to consider if you don't fancy taking a couple of days out to do a Fearless Flyer course.
Lee, do you know how big a problem being scared of flying is for travellers?
Well, it seems to be quite a problem. The latest stats show that as many as 25% of people are quite apprehensive about flying. And to give it its official name, it's called aerophobia. But of course, most of us know it as a fear of flying, and up to 10% of those 25% that are apprehensive suffer from a real phobia.
Why does this anxiety surface?
Well, a good question. People may have had a bad flight and been frightened by turbulence, an emergency landing, a plane that may be turned back due to mechanical failure of some kind. But it isn't always the actual flight experience that causes this fear. It could be due to the media attention, where there's a crash or an emergency situation. And although crashes are extremely rare, as we know, they get an enormous amount of coverage from the press. Also, of course, there are TV programs devoted to things that can go wrong on an aircraft. They actually fan the flames of fear because they don't actually state how rare the occurrences are.
No, they never do that, do they?
No.
No fun in that.
No, they frighten us all to death, dear.
So it's not just crashing that people are worried about. What else are they worried?
Well, there are some diverse reasons that people are fearful of flying. If they have a panic disorder, if they have claustrophobia, fear of heights even, then they become fearful of flying as well as the other thing they're frightened of. people feel out of control as well on aircraft because they're not in control, unlike being a car driver. In a plane, they're not driving the plane or flying the plane. But what they are doing is being in charge of their own emotions whilst they're on the plane. So actually they are in control of themselves. You know, I always say that the crew don't want anything awful to happen to themselves either, so it's quite selfishly of them, actually.
Yeah.
They take a great deal of trouble to ensure everything is safe on the aircraft. Sometimes the fear itself can just start because people are stressed in other areas of their lives.
So it can start at any stage of life, and is it a learned fear?
It can start at any stage of life. Some people have been flying quite happily for years and years. Suddenly it can develop just out of the blue, possibly due to anxiety and other areas in their lives. It can certainly be a learnt behaviour, particularly as children are so responsive to what the parents do and say. So mums and dads out there, just be cautious about what you're saying.
And husbands, because my wife never used to be scared of flying until I was, and now I'm okay, and now she's scared. So
Oh dear, just turned round.
So.
She'll have to come and see me.
Yes, you will, yeah. Well, what are the main symptoms?
Well, the main symptoms, the main physical symptoms include shaking, sweating, gastrointestinal distress, heart palpitations. People become flushed, disorientated, unable to think clearly. That's because all the blood rushes away from the head. People have heard of the fight or flight response, I'm sure, but they're getting basically an adrenaline rush. People also may feel irritable, upset, lash out at friends, or even airline personnel, which is never a good idea.
No.
And some people are reasonably comfortable at the airport, but then begin to experience symptoms before boarding the plane. Others have difficulty as soon as they reach the airport, whereas others are fearful for days and days before and are anticipating feeling fearful. And so they develop actually a fear of fear.
Yeah, but I used to stay awake the night before.
Did you?
And wouldn't go to sleep on the plane, because if I went to sleep, the plane would crash. That's what I thought. So that was, I was awake for the whole time.
And actually, whether you're asleep or awake, it makes no odds.
Should sufferers force themselves to face this fear without any help?
Well, I would say that most people need help to overcome a fear or phobia of whatever kind. And most people fan the fear by avoiding things that causes it. And therefore, if they never face up to the fact that nothing awful happens, then obviously it will get worse and worse if they don't try it. So that's called avoidance technique. And the only way of overcoming that is through taking small steps to overcome it. So perhaps driving to the airport and parking, and then the next time going inside the terminal building. Maybe then experiencing a flight simulator. But the good thing is all these things can be experienced in the mind in a state of hypnosis.
You're listening to The Travel Show with John Guinn on ukhealthradio.com. When I'm listening back to my shows, I find that the most common phrase I say, which isn't holiday based, is "but at the moment," because I have a break in an interview and I go, "This is coming on," and then "but at the moment I'm talking to." So for 2016, I'm going to try really hard not to say "but at the moment," and that's my New Year's resolution. And people have made plenty of those, and maybe hypnotherapy can help. So as well as combating even your fear of flying, hypnotherapy can help you in other ways too. So I'm now going to speak with Lee about hypnotherapy in general, and you never know, it might help you to make sure that your New Year's resolution actually happens in 2016 and you don't give up after a couple of days. And perhaps I can need hypnotherapy, so I make sure I don't say "but at the moment."
Well, it's a feeling of deep relaxation. You're never really fully awake or fully asleep. You're not unconscious. You do remain totally in control throughout. It's not like being asleep, but just like just drifting off to sleep that moment when you're just about to drop off. And I often refer to it as trance sleep. So And you know, John, hypnosis is a state of mind that many of us experience almost every day. When we're driving to work the same route time after time, we might get there and think, blimey, I can't remember having got here, really. A lot of people watch the TV, have no idea what they're watching, are just in a daydreamy state. So that's the sort of trance-like state that people may have under hypnosis. Everyone has a different experience. Some people see lots of bright colours. Some people feel very heavy, very tingly. As I say, everybody's different. It's about comfort and relaxation, basically. And when you're fully relaxed, your conscious mind is switched off. Your subconscious mind is able to overcome negative habits, learn new positive habits, and create new patterns of behaviour. And that's why hypnotherapy is so successful.
Some would say I go around in a permanent state of that. But they're just being unkind to me, I think.
That's mean.
How can hypnotherapy help those who are scared of flying?
Hypnotherapy accesses the emotional subconscious mind. It's all right being very logical and analytical and saying, I'm not going to have this fear or anything, but it comes from the emotional subconscious part of you. And your subconscious actually is amazing. It's where all events, memories, smells, sounds, etc. that you've ever experienced reside. And under hypnosis, positive suggestions for your benefit, they're embedded in your subconscious mind and they allow you to make the changes that you wish to make. Just some statements from a couple of people who have helped with the fear of flying. One of them said, I just wanted to send you a quick email to say thank you so much for all your help over the last few months. The flight to New York and back was a huge success, and I'm so proud of what I did. There was a lot of turbulence on the way home, but I didn't have one panic attack. There was no motion sickness, and I didn't even cry. I stayed calm the whole way through the flight. That's lovely when people say things like that. It makes it so worthwhile. Yeah.
What would a session look like?
For most people, everyone's different, of course, but for the majority of people, we would have a mental rehearsal under hypnosis. That would happen before the flight. I give them a CD to listen to before the flight out and before they return. So I gather all the details from them, such as which airport they're going to, what timing, where they're staying the night before if they are, or how they get into the airport. But prior to that, we'd probably undertake a phobia release session, a calm breathing and muscle relaxant session, and also something called thought field therapy, or TFT, which is a bit like acupuncture, but it's using your fingers instead of needles, and that can be great at releasing panic or anxiety.
And that'd be good for me too, because I don't like needles.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, absolutely. I can help you with that fear as well, John.
Is it a long process, or can this be instant?
No, I would say it's very unlikely to be instantaneous. Most people have had this fear for quite some time, and hypnotherapy is not magic, regardless of what you might see on the TV. The average number of sessions is usually 4, so we'd count back the weeks from your actual flight and work towards that date.
Do you have any tips for those who have a fear?
The most important one, of course, is to avoid the fear. It will only get worse if it's not confronted. So as Susan Jeffers, the author, says, feel the fear and do it anyway. You'll probably need help to stop avoiding it, so do come along and see me. I offer a free initial consultation where we can discuss how you can be helped.
How do you help people?
I help people who want to help themselves and they want to change. I am only a facilitator to the power of their own mind.
Lee, how do people find out more about you?
Well, they can phone me on 01908 265 410, or they can contact me via my website, www.setyourmindfree.co.uk.
You can follow me on Twitter at holiday_hut. Over the years, I've accumulated many travel tips. I'm going to be sharing one or two with you now.
They're random because I've